To our Toronto studio, Liberal MP Dan McTeague, who has been aware of this case, working on this case for some time now. Mr. McTeague, you heard Minister Stockwell. What's your reaction to what he had to say about bringing Brenda Martin home?
Well, too little, too late. He and his government, for a year and a half, did nothing, talked about raising at the high level, talked about their consular officials being involved, but frankly, they did nothing. And
to recognize that she's in a foreign custody. The thing we have to recognize here, Tonda, is when you're in a foreign country and you're in their custody, we can't go in with troops.
As a result of that, today we have a Canadian citizen who is, by all accounts, been railroaded, a decision that is absolute travesty of justice. And we have the same Minister of Public Safety who says, well, it's a Foreign Affairs Department. Funny, that wasn't the case with respect to clemency. No, drop the ball, and Brenda's the one that has to pay the price for their incompetence. He's also said something about the Prime Minister, that the Prime Minister was in touch and talked to Calderon about this before, the President. That is not true. And
how do you know that's not true?
Well, we've asked them to confirm it. It turns out Calderon did, in fact, speak to the Prime Minister, Mr. Harper, but it wasn't. It was a prearranged comment. It was a prearranged phone call, and it was about today's meeting in New Orleans. And when the media pressed, of course, they weren't prepared to answer. So if he did, in fact, speak to Calderon, either it didn't have the effect, or more importantly, he never made the call to begin with. And we've heard from Mexican authorities, Mexican officials on their own website, that it was a prearranged call in which the issue of Brenda Martin wasn't specifically raised.
What kind of a deal you get, and there are about 1 million Canadians a year go to Mexico, so I think it's very important for the Mexican authorities to assure us that they have a justice system and the application of justice that we can rely on.
Well, I'm wondering, actually, do Foreign Affairs ministers, staff, consular officials, Canadian government officials, do they base their decisions on how to deal or in these kinds of cases based on their own independent assessment of whether someone is guilty or innocent? Does that play into it?
No, we're not able to do that, Donda. The role of Foreign Affairs in these cases is to make sure that the individual concerned has their rights in international law, which are really to have consular access, to ensure that they can. We cannot get involved in every case. There's about 4,000 Canadians in jail at any one time in different countries around the world. Some of them may be the result of unfortunate miscarriages of justice. Many of them are perfectly legitimate convictions.
That the Foreign Affairs Minister, or the Prime Minister for that matter, would they get involved normally when there is hope or when there's no hope?
No, we would get in. You don't start with the Prime Minister, and you certainly can't bring the Prime Minister into every case, but
give me a very quick view on this. Do you think this government's doing enough for jailed Canadians abroad?
Well, I think they're trying to do everything they possibly can. I think Stockwell Day has made it clear that he'll do his best to bring Ms. Martin back as quickly as he possibly can, but you're at the jail. We can only use diplomacy and argument to get you out, and that's what we have to do, and we count on our government to do their best, but we can't move mountains and we can't do miracles.
Okay, well.